Hi, I'm CJ Almberg, Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We've got an awesome 4-horse head-to-head sitting behind us here. This guy is loaded. We're gonna walk you through this 26 Cimarron Norstar warm blood 4-horse head-to-head air ride trailer. Before we start showing you all the cool features on this trailer, let's go ahead and take a look at the drawing because I'll show you some specs on it. On the floor, this guy is 36'6". We have a 9-foot nose on it. This one's 7'10" tall and 7'6" wide. And if you kind of pay attention to that drawing a little bit, you're going to notice there's a back tack and a front tack on this one. We're going to show you that and talk about why that is. So let's go ahead and just jump into this trailer. Cimarrons are all aluminum construction. You're going to have an 8-year structure warranty, 3-year hardware warranty on them. So they really stand behind the product. We'll go into in-depth on how they're actually constructed, but we'll start right here at the front and this nose. You're going to notice this is their V nose. This is not their standard tapered nose. Let's remember, I just said this guy is 7'10" tall. So it's really going to accommodate those big horses. But with that, we're going to have a taller box, right? So a lot more drag, a lot more wind is going to get caught by this. So this is Cimarron's V nose. I want you to pay attention to this because this isn't a very abrupt to a point, you know, V nose on this guy, so we don't lose as much storage in the nose itself. I like the profile of it a little bit better, but boy, do these trailers pull phenomenally well. Yes, we have air ride on this trailer, but that V nose makes a big difference, especially in these extra tall trailers. We're gonna have a B&W coupler. This guy is rated for 25,000 pounds. It has a lot of flexibility, so we can really adjust this guy. If you notice, this is a low profile handle with an extra hole drilled into it. If you look at this sticker, this was the one previously. You can see the taller handle, and then we lost this lower actually hole drilled in here. Now let's remember, this is a big trailer, so this has the potential maybe getting hauled by a taller truck or a hauler or something along those lines. This gives us a lot of flexibility to really set this trailer where we want it to, give us bed clearance, but also making it run level. That's very key. So this gives us a lot of flexibility with this, about 3rd generation from B&W and Cimarron's kind of collaboration on that. Now underneath the gooseneck here, I've got the roll-up door. I'll shut it here in a minute, but I've got it rolled up right now because I want to show you everything back behind here. Again, 36.5 foot on the floor. Let's go ahead and put a hydraulic jack on this guy. So it's got that Equalizer electric over hydraulic. This also has the manual override. We've done some how-to videos on how to actually pump this on or off the truck. And if you get in emergency situations, maybe we don't have power, again, you got to just get in that type of scenario and get it on or off the truck. It has that capability. There's other versions out there that don't have that, and we've heard customers that have been burned by that in the past. They're a little bit cheaper. We like to go ahead and put this version on. Cimarron does, and we like to do it through our parts and service department after the fact if somebody wants that done. Spare tires located left over there. Over here on the right, this enclosure has a floor on it. So this is a great place to maybe throw some tools, tire changing equipment, a ramp, you know, just some miscellaneous stuff that maybe you need. Maybe it's a bucket with a hose. Toss that in there and it's all secure. That way if you stop somewhere and need to fill up some buckets, you know, get some water for the horses, you can do that. With this jack setup, you're gonna get this battery box. Now, you're gonna get one standard 12-volt battery. This one's been upgraded to 2, just because it's got a lot of lights on it. We wanna run, you know, a lot of power through this, so we've got 2 batteries. You're also gonna get a battery disconnect, that's standard with it. When we park this trailer and walk away from it, you want to turn that guy off because, again, it's got a lot of lights. We don't want to leave one on and then drain these batteries down. So that is a really important feature. We were constantly putting those on. They made them standard here about 2 years ago. This RedArc charger, this is a newer piece that's been put on shortly after the 25 models came out. That guy there is a true 3-staging charger to these 12-volt batteries. But what's awesome is I can tell if I'm getting power from the truck. When I plug it in, it has an indicator of saying, yep, we're getting power from that truck. It also has different profiles, so if you wanted to go with lithium batteries, you wanted to do solar, you can set it up that way. But what's really cool is it, in my opinion, works as like a supercharger to these batteries, where your truck will always work as a trickle charger, so very slow going. This here determines, you know, how much, you know, we need to actually top these batteries off, so it's pulling from the truck the adequate amount of amperage from there and feeding these batteries. So we're going to keep these batteries nice and topped off, which is going to mean a lot more life and longevity to the batteries themselves. The other thing underneath here, and it's tucked over in this corner, is going to be our on compressor. I mentioned this has air ride. We will talk more about that, but this is the actual compressor right here. Really simple to use. It's on off, it's lower raise, and then you have a drain on it, and that's that cable right down here that I'm going to pull to actually clear those lines themselves, because air creates condensation. We don't want that to freeze and crack and do damage to lines, so we need to clear that each time when we go to park it and again walk away from it. You can kind of hear it. I just tell everybody is you just kind of hold that till it stops hissing at you. That way we know all that air is cleared out of the lines themselves. But we've done some videos on how to operate this system and then how to shut it down properly, so we could send you that. Again, we'll talk about the benefits of air ride, but again, we don't have to have air source, you know, on the truck itself. It's all right here on the trailer itself. So the roll-up door is going to protect everything back there, keeping it nice and clean. But I also want you to notice is, you know, back behind your truck, you know, a lot of these trailers kind of work as almost like a parachute, because it actually kind of holds some of that air as you're driving. So this is going to give it a little bit more, you know, aerodynamic to the trailer itself. I think it's just a cleaner, sleeker look to these bigger, nicer trailers like this. Again, it works so well, you know, in ice, sandy roads, that type of, you know, scenarios. We hear that question quite a bit is, hey, how does that hold up in that? You have to think about this. These are doors they use on like utility trucks, fire trucks, so they have to hold up and they have to still be functioning, and that's what you get with the roll-up door. And then your switch for your jack is actually just right here, so it's really easy. Pushing this guy up or down, lowering it on the truck, getting it off the truck, really easy rather than hand cranking it. Now, because of this roll-up door, a standard Cimarron nose is 8.2 long. This one's 9 foot. Because of the roll-up and that floor, we extend it a little bit. What I love about when they extend it, a lot of other manufacturers won't. They'll do an enclosure, but they'll keep it all tight. To where if you run like a long box with your tailgate, if you drop it when you're hooking it up, you can still walk back here. You still have some spacing because we've actually lengthened that. And what it does is actually gives you more storage as well. And then on these bigger trailers, you're gonna get the wraparound style nose. You get that lower rocker panel on there. We can kind of pan over to a couple of these other trailers. Those are the VP style noses over there. But again, on these bigger trailers, you're gonna get the wraparound style. Now, I told you, front tack room on this one. So this front area is gonna be more of like a storage rather than a kind of a tack. Now, not to say you can't throw your totes, those type of items in here, but I'm gonna show you this is a great storage and potential like hay room almost. So first and foremost, we have a fold up step. So it's really getting easy, you know, it's really easy getting in and out of this trailer itself. You're gonna notice on this door as you're approaching it, this gray rubber, but this gray rubber is incorporated throughout this whole front dressing room, tack area, hay room, whatever you wanna call it. On the floor, you're gonna have rubber mats, but then on all the walls, the gooseneck drop wall, the deck itself is going to be this gray rubber. So talk about durability and ease of just cleanup. So again, you want to throw hay, you want to throw shavings in here. It's not carpet that's going to get in, you know, those items are going to get embedded in there. Really easy to sweep it up and then vacuum it up itself. So up in the gooseneck, as you can see, that gray rubber goes all the way around the walls. It's on that deck and it's on the drop wall. We put a light dead center of that gooseneck area. Think about it, again, 9 foot deep. And with that V-nose, if you look at this, there is still an absolute ton of storage in this. Don't forget, we went 7'10" tall, so we can go up with items as well. On the driver's side wall here, we're gonna have 2 rows of hooks. These are aluminum powder coated, so these guys are really stout. Hang items here. We don't have to worry about them scuffing up the wall because of that gray rubber again. And again, it's all the way around. So again, the ease of just cleaning this front dressing room, tack, hay room, feed room, whatever you want to call it, it's there. The other thing too is we put some fold up cleats. So if you do need to hop up in that, you know, front gooseneck area. It's really easy to flip that up and down and hop into that itself. And then there's going to be another light right above the door. So we have a light above the door itself, and then one again center of that gooseneck. So plenty of light. We wanted to add another one. That's why we put the one in the gooseneck, because that gray rubber, I mean, it just does darken that front tack room a little bit. So that's why we put that in there. So fold up step, again, really easy to operate. Couple things on this one. This one here, we upgraded from just their standard paddle latch handle to this rotary style. So it's a lot bigger. You grab a hold of a lot more, a lot easier to operate there. And then it's got a deadbolt combo. So if this necessarily isn't locked, you can just lock the deadbolt combo, send somebody to the trailer. You don't have to find keys, punch in the code and get in there. Very, very easy to do there. Now, as we start coming back, there's gonna be a couple things we upgraded on this one. Typically on these head-to-heads, you'll notice a lot of bus windows. We opted to go ahead and put drop-down feed windows on all of these stalls. So not only are we gonna have them at the head of the horse, but we're gonna have them up and over the hip so we can get a lot more airflow within the trailer. As you can see on all these drop-down feed doors, they all have the bus window in there. So we can, you know, close it up a little bit more and maybe restrict a little bit more airflow, maybe when we're traveling in the winter months. But when it gets hot, you need more airflow. You can drop those guys down. As you can see, it's got the jail bars on all of them as well. So that's an upgrade there to have all those drop down feed doors to be able to access, you know, horses if need be, offering them some feed water without necessarily getting in the trailer itself. But again, more airflow. Look at the top rail. This guy's got a ton of lights. So a lot of button lights up top. You're gonna have 3 16-inch awning lights on passenger side here, one above that front tack room, and then one kind of on each side of this side ramp going into that box stall there. They shoot down and out, so you get a lot of light coverage there. And I'll show you here when we shut up the ramp here in a little bit when we get to the other side. There's also button lights on the bottom rocker panel as well. So not only are on the gooseneck, but then they go down the length of the trailer. This one's 7.6 wide, but we opted for no running board. So this, you just see the rocker panel down there. You'll typically see that look on 8 wide trailers, but in this instance, this one's 7.6, but again, deleted the actual running board itself, so you just have rocker panel there. Now we have this side ramp going in. And if you notice, this side ramp goes almost to that top rail. So you want to talk about a large opening, nice big ramp. The other thing too is when we make that ramp with that kind of distance or that height on it, what it does is when it lays down, as we have it right now, it's a lot longer. So it lays down and it's not as steep. If you make that ramp shorter, the trailer gets really steep. So loading horses and unloading horses is not a fun venture there. We want them to just have a nice ease walking on or off the trailer. Now, I mentioned this trailer is air ride. It's aired down right now, so it's lowered. So this is the great time to be loading horses, feed, and equipment, whatever you need to tack, because the box itself and everything's lower. And again, this ramp isn't as steep. When we air it up, it'll pick it up about 2.5 to 3 inches. So it makes everything a little bit bigger step or a little bit steeper on the ramp itself. But again, with this ramp really extending out, it's really easy to walk into it. And then we come right in here to the box stall. So it does have the center box stall. So if you need to throw an extra horse on here, you've got that capability. So right here, box stall, you're gonna get a bar that goes across. Okay, as you can see, it's got a man door over here on driver's side. It's got a chest bar there as well, but we've got an extra access point in here. And the other nice thing is this is street side over here. Ramp is curbside, so it's really easy to duck in here. If you need to pull off the side of the road and hop into this area, you know, we don't have to drop that side ramp. So now as we come in, we got a lot going on in here, okay? First and foremost, we've got these stud gates. They're all hinged because this is our load and unload point here off the side of the trailer, okay? So these gates are gonna swing towards passenger side. This one here is gonna lock into place. And then as we get into the actual stall area, couple things, chest bars we've gone in because of these trailers and the bigger horses. You know, we took a step back one day and said, okay, chest bars and butt bars were set at 43 inches off the floor. Well, that's on everything. So that's your standard little using trailer, you know, gooseneck, you know, smaller quarter horses, that works. But when we get into these big guys, we need to change that up a little bit. So we've gone in and set our chest bars at 46 inches, our butt bars at 49, just to give that extra height in these type of scenarios for these bigger horses. So as you can see, we got a chest bar here. It's got a lock on it as well. So if you got somebody that likes to play with stuff, they're not gonna be able to get this guy dropped because it's got this little lock right in there. So I can flip that up, kick it over, and then drop it out of the way. Because we've got a solid wall back here, we've got a tube off the wall a little bit. So again, they can lean against this guy here and we don't have to worry about it. It works like a butt bar, but in this instance, we've got a solid wall back here, so they built that off, but a nice big, you know, 4-inch tube back there. These dividers are stud dividers, so they're solid down low. We have pads on them, and then they're jail bar up top, and then the head grill is jail bar as well. So again, a lot of airflow within this trailer itself. Now, when we want, there's gonna be some scenarios, load, unload, okay? Now, maybe we wanna make some box stalls. The cool thing about this is we can actually make 3 box stalls. You have your middle one, you can make a second one if you want, keep a couple horses up there. But this divider here, a lot of them have the capability to come out or a spot against the wall to store, but it's usually a 2-person job. You have to unpin it, lift it over, set it in place, to where in this instance here, this guy is a movable actual divider. So I unpin from the roof, from the floor, and then from there, I can actually slide it over because it's on this track up above us. I'll show you in here in a second. And then it's got the hardware in the floor and the ceiling to lock it into place. So I did that by myself, just a couple seconds, slide it over, get it out of the way, lock it into place. I don't necessarily have to remove it, figure out what to do with it, but then I don't need, you know, a bunch of hands helping me get it moved out of the way. Maybe you're traveling somewhere, you got a couple head of horses, maybe you sell something, and you go, man, I want to give them the box stall, but then I got this divider, what the heck do I do with it? Well, just slide it over. So as you see up here on the top, there's these rails, and attached to the actual divider itself, there's some rollers in there. So this is the concept that we took from our show cattle trailers and those traveling gates. The only difference is on the show trailers, they go across, the gate goes across the trailer itself and we can slide them forward or backwards. Well, all we did was we just changed it and turned it to the side so these slide over out of the way. So in both of these stalls, the back and then the front one, I'll show you here in a second, they both have this capability. So we can slide these dividers out of the way very easily, which again gives you a lot of flexibility. Now we got box stalls. Okay, on this one here, they opted for some camper style vents. There's 3 of them. One above, you know, this back stall. There's gonna be another one and another one in the actual box middle stall there itself. I'll show you. We'll move to the front one. The nice thing is this guy pins back too as well. These against driver's side, so they get out of the way. And again, can fold them right up here. So as we get into the first stalls, in this instance here, get this guy flipped over. Same thing. We've just got it. These front ones here are going to be rear facing, the other ones are forward facing, but the setup's the exact same. Stud divider, padded divider, air flows, and then there's your track. So this divider here will unpin and slide over here towards driver's side. So both these slide to driver's side, and again, you've got that 3 box stall setup. Okay, in each one of these, you're going to have an LED light. So there's one in each stall. And then there's going to be one above the side ramp coming out. Those are those big OptiBrite lights, so they put off a ton of light, not a big power draw. they're fantastic. Those were the lights we were constantly putting on our inventory, with exception of availability at times with another version of an LED, but Cimarron's gone ahead and made those standard here recently, so it's nice to have those guys. Okay, insulated roof, that's standard on every single Cimarron. So those ones you saw that I showed you, the VP style noses in the background, those bumper poles, all of them have the exact same roof, even when we get in these bigger custom trailers like this. So in this instance here, this will keep your stall area 20% cooler than an aluminum sheeted roof. So massive difference in temperature control. Again, we're trying to utilize as much airflow as we can. That's why we have the drop down feed doors, you know, airflow dividers. So it'll keep your horses nice and comfortable. The other thing is it'll take substantial hail. So it'll take massive hail. It's a 1/2 inch thick. It's a reinforcement. Looks like honeycomb design. Takes 150 pounds per square foot. So you can walk on this roof and it won't dent it. So it's protecting your investment. A lot of other manufacturers, when hail hits, they get hail damage, and you know, you're going through all that hassle. But that's going to really hold up. On the floor itself, we have rubber mats, and what we also have is we've got the industry's best floor underneath there. So it's a 12-inch extruded deck piece that's tongue and groove, high and low, so it locks in 2 points of contact. 4-inch centers, so those centers run across the trailer the full length. The easiest way to explain it is wherever you have a horse standing on a Cimarron floor, they're standing on 1, if not 2 support beams. So it really holds up extremely well. They actually build the trailers upside down. So they'll set the floor, they'll start setting the floor in, doing their welds across those 12-inch deck pieces. They'll do it you know, on the side rail itself, that bottom lower rocker panel, lock them into place, and then they'll flip it over. So it gains even more strength as you start building up from there itself. And if you look, you know, this is a big trailer. We got an opening, we got another side opening. You know, look at this structure that goes across there, that added, you know, support over these openings. And then over here, if we look at the side ramp, this has all been reinforced and beefed up as well. We've got extra tubes going up over the top, but we wanted to maximize that headspace as much as possible. And then on that big heavy duty cam for the ramp itself, I'll show you when we close it, but it's got, you know, bolts all the way through that connect. That way it just gains strength and then holds that all in place. So again, this stall area has been really well designed. It works really well. Again, you've got a lot of flexibility because of those moving dividers. So this is that full height ramp. And then I'll show you here. This is the upgraded heavy duty cam lock. And then again, those bolts go all the way through that wall, so it just sucks everything together and keeps everything nice and tight. We added some grab handles to it just to make it a little bit easier. Because of the added height, just the leverage standpoint, you can grab this and bring it down. But look at all those big heavy duty springs on the lower part of that ramp that make it really easy going up and down. There's a lot of material right there, and that was very easy to lift up and down itself on that ramp setup. Okay, amber turn signal, that's what this guy is right here. That amber turn signal does a couple things. We like putting it on these bigger, longer trailers because it works as an indicator. So when you turn your blinkers on, it'll flash. When you hit your brakes, it'll indicate, but also works as a great big marker light as well when you look down the side of this trailer. But it's just so people kind of pay attention. We're a long ways to the truck. If they're past the back, can't see our rear tail lights, it's nice to know we got that actual blinker on itself. So spread axle on this guy. So we have air ride, and then we have spread axle. So you want to talk about just a unbelievably smooth road, you know, drive itself. You have it in this setup. These are two 8,000 pound. It's the Dexter Airflex system. So again, I showed you the compressor. We have rubber torsion axles. We have shocks. So it sits down on rubber torsion. Old air ride systems, if it was like that right now, we could move the trailer. We can move this trailer. This system here, when it sets down on those shocks and that rubber torsion axle, we can still get move the trailer. So if we have an issue with a line, a bag, a leveling valve, something along those lines, we can get where we need to and then get it addressed. But in this instance here, it's lowered, and then again it'll pick it up. We went with 19.5-inch Alcoas. So you want to talk about awesome running gear underneath here. We have the spread, we have the 8s, we have the air ride, 19.5-inch Alcoa wheels, and then a Continental 16-ply 19.5-inch tire. So really good speed rating on this guy. Electric brakes on this, so integrated brake controller or aftermarket you'll need to operate them. But the air ride itself, I could go on and on and on. I could give you so many examples. We've got some videos we can show you of horses loaded in a trailer like this where it's aired down and a path, and just watching him. There's a middle gilding. I say just watch him. He'll tell you everything you need to know, the way he acts when the air is off. He's not having fun on a trip. And then when you turn the air on, we do the same path. It's like a different horse got loaded. He's so calm, relaxed. Now go do that for 5-6 hours, even longer sometimes on some of these road trips. Customer feedback is, I'll never own another trailer without air ride. That's how much they believe in it and how well it rides. I've heard of customers saying, I can actually take a full day off of travel to get somewhere to a show for recovery time because of how well the horses ride and how fresh they step off the trailer. Well, that's added expense being away from home, being on the road, extra meals, extra hotel rooms. You're paying for your air ride. So it is that upgrade, but we've got a lot of money, invested in probably the horses and time we have. We want them to go compete at the highest level. Give them every opportunity to compete at that highest level, and air ride is the way to go on that. We can get you in touch with numerous customers, and they'll talk about how well and how much they love that air ride system itself. All right, so on the drawing, you probably saw this one had a rear tack. So there's a couple things. This guy is really unique from the standpoint of this is a 6-foot rear tack room on it. So we've got a lot of storage back here. But if you think about it from a safety purpose, where are our horses? Well, they're 6 foot into this trailer. So for some reason, worst case scenario, we don't want to talk about it, but it has that potential of happening. If you get rear-ended, there's a lot of trailer material they've got to get to those horses. So this is a really safe trailer from that standpoint, but want to talk about how cool this rear tack is to work off of. As you can see, we've got a 48-inch wide opening here at the back, and it's got one of those roll-up doors I showed you on the front end. So I'll roll it closed here when we get done with this. But as you can see, we don't necessarily have a door that hinges and swings either way that we have to work around, right? So we can literally work off of either side of this trailer and not have to worry about a door. Fold-up step goes all the way across, so it's really easy getting in and out of this. You can even stand on the side and work into it. Instead of just doing a narrow one right at the edge, we wanted to go all the way across to make it really easy getting in and out of here. And then as we come in over here on passenger side, we got a set of hooks down low, aluminum powder coated, carpet behind that, just to protect whatever we're hanging there. Up above it is going to be a shelf. It's 18 inches deep with a 2-inch lip. This full length, so 6 foot on this wall, so a ton of storage up here for you. And then a clothes rod, so we can hang garment bags, we can hang clothes. We don't necessarily have to, actually use space in the back of the truck when we're traveling. We can hang that right here. On the partition wall, fully carpeted as well. Another set of hooks all the way across. Again, these are aluminum powder coated. These are designed and built by Cimarron, so these guys are really strong and stout. I love the height on them and depth off the wall and spacing. You can hang a lot of stuff on these. But that carpet protects everything from moving on the wall itself. And then on driver's side, we have a recess post. This one here, we did 4 saddle racks, 2 blanket bars up there. The nice thing is this post is recessed into the wall, but I can adjust all these if I want. If I wanted to empty these out, maybe I've got my actual saddles and totes or something along those lines and I don't need this in my way, I can loosen these up, slide them at the top, and remove them. Set them somewhere safe, so when you ever come to trade it back in or sell it, you've got everything you need, or maybe just kind of change maybe just the way you travel and how you want to set up this tack. You've got that flexibility. But you just loosen the nut, slide it where you want, tighten it up, or you can just, again, completely remove it. So if you wanted to change the sequencing, you've got a lot of flexibility there. And then floor space, an absolute ton of floor space in here. Rubber mats on the floor, but again, 6 foot with this 7.5 wide. You want to stack a lot of stuff in here, you've got it. You know, see a lot of them, you know, run around with, you know, bikes and that type of stuff at shows. You can throw them in here. And then we've got 2 of those OptiBrite lights in the ceiling, kind of like we saw in the gooseneck area. So we have a lot of light coverage itself. We didn't necessarily want to put it on that back rear because we have that roll up. It'll kind of get blocked by it. So this light here is centered over the actual tack room itself. So plenty of light coverage back here. And then again, it just rolls down and locks up just like we saw on that roll up door, and then the fold up step itself. Light switches, so we've got multiple light switches over here on right hand side. These are going to be more of like load lights on this side of the trailer, stall lights, and then on the left hand side we're going to have driver's side, rear, and then this rear tack room. So you're going to have 2 8-inch awning lights at the back here on that upper post. It goes across the trailer to that header, so again shoots down and out. And then you're probably wondering, well, what the heck's that? Well, that's a spoiler up there. Okay, not only does it have air ride, but it's the fastest trailer on the market. In all reality, what happens at the back of trailers, especially passenger vehicles, think about this. You live down dirt roads, go down dirt roads. The back of our truck, the tailgate, the bumper, your passenger vehicle, all of it are covered in that real fine dust, right? Well, because it swirls at the back of trailers. So what that spoiler does is it forces that air down and it pushes it away from the trailer itself. So we're trying to keep the back of the trailer clean. We do that on a lot of other horse trailers, you know, where maybe they have doors, or stock trailers where, you know, it can suck that dirt into the actual stall area. We don't want our horses necessarily breathing that fine dust, you know, from a respiratory standpoint. Now, obviously in this instance with the rear tack, it's not as big of a deal with, you know, to the horses themselves, but it will keep the back of this trailer a lot cleaner as well. These back tail lights have a white X in them. That is a built-in backup light. So when we throw this guy in reverse, we actually have some light coverage here at the back of the trailer. Remember, we're 36.6 on the floor and we're a 9-foot nose. So our backup lights on our truck are worthless back here at this point. So it's nice to have those guys here at the back. That is now standard. On your rear upper post, we went ahead and put some button lights there as well. So again, when you have this guy lit up at night, it does look cool with all those lights on the top rail, that rear post, and then your lower rail as well. So as you can see over here on the driver's side, same setup, drop down feed doors at each with the jail bars. Look at the framework on those drop down feed doors as well. All that is framework from the edge of it to those windows. So you want to talk about drop down feed doors that are built to last and really durable. That's what you're getting with a Cimarron. These are not prefab by any means. There's a lot of beef to those guys. With that being said, you're going to need heavy duty hinges, and that's what you got is you have welded hinges with grease zerks. So really strong and stout, but then we can maintain them. You get a squeaky one, a stiff one, we can actually maintain it ourselves. Because if you notice, there's like this brass ring right in the middle. Well, it's connected to a rod that goes the full length of that. And it's got a groove cut into it like a swirl, like a candy cane. So what you do is you put grease to it, you open and close them, and it's feeding that grease throughout that entire hinge. So again, freeing it up and making it easier to use. A lot of other competitors will have a welded hinge, but you really can't put anything to it to actually lubricate it. You got to heat them up, you got to drill holes into them. It's a little bit more of a hassle, but these already have that built in. There's that access door going in from the side into that stall area if you need to. Again, chest bar, and then a fold up step as well. The tack doors, side entrance, drop down feed doors, all these have the same key. So these here, one key to get into them. Your roll up doors are a different key, but on these instances here, it's just one key itself. Again, the jail bars drop down really easy. It's built into a track, so it's really easy to drop these guys down. Again, offer some feed, offer some water if need be, and then fold them right back up and into place. So again, with those bus windows within that, we can, you know, really manipulate how much airflow we really want into it. We even put a bus window in that access door there. So again, we can just create airflow throughout the entire trailer. And now you get a good look at those button lights on the top rail. You can have a 16-inch awning light there at that access door going into the stall area, and then the lower button lights as well. So again, it really dresses this trailer up. So as you can see, this guy's got about every bell and whistle as it can. This here is going to be a demo trailer, so it'll be lightly used. We'll bring it back in, we'll get it cleaned up for you, so there'll be some, you know, savings there for you. But I'm going to give you the stock number on it. Again, it's a 2026 Cimarron Norstar 4-horse head-to-head air ride. Stock number is 5N250614. We do take trade-in, so if you're looking to upgrade or downsize, we can help you there. Financing is available and delivery is options, so we could potentially bring this to your door. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400. Appreciate you tuning in. Have a good day.